You know, as a farmer, I think of food a lot. I think of sustainability, I think of independence, because every aspect of our life is to try to take care of our family without having to rely on big business or government. Well, today we're talking about two things that I personally raise. We're going to talk about beef and bees. Now, Colby, why does that have to do with anybody who lives in the suburbs or cities? Well, because of this. Your beef may be changing and it may be allowed to be cloned now. Are you happy with eating cloned meat? Because of the price of beef, this might be the answer, huh? What about this? Do you realize your crops will not be producing without pollinators? Well, we have a war on bees now. Not only from the chemicals that people are spraying, but also now we have governments absolutely going towards them. This will blow your mind. Also, police coming to your home. Is coming to my home, your home? Are they going to show up at your door? You're not going to believe this story. Wait till you hear what's going on in California. Something that will continue to spread across America. Why? Because that's what happens. Is we see something and then we're like, oh, well, we've got to do it. So it's like a virus that spreads across America. Wait till you hear this story. It'll blow your mind. And then again, what's happening at Berkeley? What's happening at these TPUSA events? While the right is eating itself, Christians are being persecuted and then locked up for being there in support of TPUSA. We're going down the wrong way in America. And the sad thing is, the people that are getting persecuted against are the ones that want to see America actually thrive. The Christian Americans who want conservatism and traditional values. And we're the ones getting persecuted against. Wait till you hear this story. There are so many stories we're going to go over today. Wait till you hear all these. Stay tuned for the whole video because there's something at the end we need to discuss. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. Again, we're humbled by your support each and every day, and we don't say it enough. Thank you for being here and taking our content. We hope that it is helpful for you and your family. Now let's dive into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about the bees and cattle, because that deals with your food system. What you don't realize, and again, if you're not a farmer, you especially don't realize, and if you're using GMO-modified crops or you're relying on the government to feed you, then they're trying to get rid of pollinators. Pollinators provide, again, the spreading of production based on flowers and vegetation that's growing, like heirloom non-GMO vegetables and fruits and herbs. That is, we are fully reliant. Our gardens are fully reliant. Our blueberries, our strawberries, all the squash, cucumbers, I mean, everything that you could think of, tomatoes, those are needing those bees to pollinate. They're needing pollinators. Pollinators are one of the most beneficial of livestock. And I know we don't want to call them livestock, but truthfully, when you're a bee apiary like me, they become a very vital part of humanity because they feed us. Now you're starting to get all these rich billionaires like Mr. Bill Gates and some of these other players that are trying to get self-pollinators and GMO-modified crops where they don't need pollinators. Well, what it does, it takes the independence and the God-honoring way of growing crops away and puts it in the hands of men who they control. Without pollinators, your typical Americans couldn't grow food. Now let's go to what just happened in New Zealand. The reason I want to bring this up though is because again, these are Western cultures that are our allies, and every time these allies and all these people start doing this, kind of like importing the third world like Europe is doing, now we're starting to do it, kind of like what Canada's doing with the WEF, it's kind of like what we're starting to do. We always learn how to be stupid from a lot of these countries. Let's go to what they're saying. Meanwhile, in New Zealand, we've been told to burn healthy, strong beehives because there's a chance that they could have disease. Bees are quite possibly the most important insect to exist. It's not only coincidence that they are now dying rapidly because of all the spraying and all the things in our atmosphere, but beekeepers are saying there's an evil agenda where they're coming in and able to test your hives. Now, you think this is not a big deal. Do you remember in Canada how they said that you couldn't walk in nature because of the dangers? You remember how they said that you can't kill certain wildlife like in America because of dangers to the deer. You can't kill certain rabbits because of the tumors that they're starting to grow. What we're starting to see is our normal wildlife, our normal way of eating, our normal natural way of chain of food is getting destroyed. And you can't tell me that for 2,000 or more years, or 4,000 years, however old you think the earth is, that we've done we've lived off all these animals, all these insects, all these creatures, and we were able to thrive. And then all of a sudden, just the last 10, 20, 30 years, all this stuff starts developing. We start getting smarter and convenient. We start growing food different. We start doing things better with all these pesticides, herbicides, all these medicines, and now everything that we have is sick. Now, help me understand that. I said this the other day. Do you realize the medicines that we have, in generality, has not actually given us more life-sustaining ability? Now, it may keep us alive longer, but it does not give us a quality of life better. Do the studies. The mortality rate, the comorbidity rates, all those things are actually not better than they were 50 years ago. Now, we are not, there's certain things that we've learned and gotten better on in innovation and keeping people healthier with certain things, but at the same time, we've developed more cancers, we've developed more disease, we've developed more cardio problems, we've developed more autism, we've developed more of all these things. Don't you think that relates back to the food system and the dangers of what we're doing to our food system? Now, all of a sudden, in New Zealand, they believe that we need to get rid of bees, kind of like the ostrich farm in Canada, kind of like all these other situations where they just, it's preventative. Let's just massacre all these animals and all this livestock. Let's just get rid of all these bees because they're no longer viable. They could be sick. I told you a story the other day about a chicken farmer who pretty much, if something happens at his chicken farm, he's not allowed to, of course, have any chickens or any poultry around. But say someone next to him, a neighbor that's also a chicken farmer, has a problem, or they think H5N1's in that house, one of those homes. Most chicken farmers have 4 to 5 homes or 8 homes of houses on their property. If one is found at your neighbor's place, they of course annihilate all his and then all yours and anyone in that 10-mile radius. Is that not crazy? So who gave the rights to government to just destroy the environment and destroy all our animals? Destroy the crops, destroy the insects. It's amazing how these same people were pushing for green energy and loving the earth, but they're the same people that will literally decimate a forest to put solar. They're literally the ones that will decimate an ostrich farm or decimate bee apiaries in the name of keeping you safe. It's kind of like that thing that just passed in Texas. Did you hear about this? In Texas, listen to this. In Texas, they are wanting you to get more surveilled. They're wanting to work on a digital ID for you because they want to keep your kids safe online. Now, here's the best answer for that. I've got it right here. I've got it. Don't let your kids online without you watching over them. Don't let your kids have a smartphone. That would probably solve all the problem, wouldn't it? My kids, I don't have to worry about the extra protection layers on all this digital ID because guess what? My kids don't have a cell phone that is access to internet until they're literally 18 going out of the house. They don't have the access to smartphones and social media presences. They don't have the access to internet by themselves in their rooms. Are you stupid and crazy to let your kids do that? So when the problem of worried about government's overreach and making things better in our life by killing all our crops and killing all the bee apiaries and hurting all the livestock and all the animals, it doesn't seem to help, does it? Oh wait, government has the answer. So we let government destroy everything to then turn around and allow this. Listen to this moratorium that just came out that just ceased to exist in Canada. Why I think this is a big deal? Because they're already trying to pass law here in America for the same thing. Health Canada has ended a 20-year restriction on cloned cattle and swine, meaning meat and dairy from cloned animals and their offspring can now be sold in Canada with no labels of public notice. See, this is the key. Is it wrong for them to do cloned meat? I think it is, but they don't have to disclose it. It's kind of like that meat that you're eating in the store. They don't have to disclose that's 150, 160, 170 other DNAs found in that same meat. When I pick up my meat out of my freezer, it's that one cow that I harvested, that one hog that I harvested, that one sheep that I harvested because I personally did it. I did it on this table in this pantry. But when you go to the store, the mislabeling and telling you it's from this area and it's got this wholesome raised cow, they don't know. It's 180 different DNAs in there. And now all of a sudden Canada's saying, well, because of the cost of meat, which we're having the same problem in America, remember. The cost of meat, we're going to allow for cloned pigs and cloned cattle to hit the markets and you not know about it. It says the decision was following a 2023 policy review by the Health Canada, the CFIA, which is the same group that slaughtered the ostriches, by the way. The agencies maintain the move of science-based and possesses no new health risk. The government says there's no health risk. The government also said there's no health risk to 2020. The government also says there's no risk to GLP. The government also says there's no risk to all these GMO-modified crops. The government also said there's no risk to glyphosate, and let's see how that all played out. There's tuberous cancers going on. So when we pay attention to the food system, we better, because what the food system is full control. That's what you don't realize. More than money, more than anything, food and water. Food and water is the name of the game. If they can control the food and the water, they control everything, people. More than the energy, more than the cash flow, if they control the food and water by taking out the pollinators so then farmers can't farm, they can't harvest, they can't have the insects pollinating everything, they're spraying the skies for the rest of them, so therefore you have to go to a machine version GMO crop that is conventionally grown. Look, I told you this before. I love older movies, but there's this one movie that's so important that it's not about the Jurassic Park dinosaurs. Let me go back. But the last Jurassic Park, not the one with Scarlett Johansson, not the newest one. I'm talking about the one with Chris Pratt kind of ending up the Jurassic Park season. I think it was Fallen Kingdom. I don't know. But the science based in that was not about the dinosaurs. What I grasped out of that movie was they were making crops that could not be manipulated, but they were also making versions of insects that could manipulate everyone else's crops. And so therefore, there was disease on everyone else's crops that were not growing this specific, GMO crop. And so they had the market of food. See, we think that's all crazy and dystopian. What do you think all this does? All these news articles do is destroy our food till we have reliance on the government. Or big business one. Both do not look out for your well-being. I love this. I want you to listen to what was said. This is shared by a guy named Tyler. It says, the most broken things in America is the national debt, the healthcare system, the tax code, K through 12 education, and now the obesity rates and comorbidity rates. He said, what do these things have in common? Every one of them have government's hand all in it. I do love to see there are some good things happening. People are starting to wake up and they're actually starting to get on budgets, especially younger Americans, because they're realizing they cannot live this life and pull debt like most people are doing. Kind of like the stupid 50-year mortgage and 15-year car notes is stupid. Also, people are starting to realize health may be the best thing to do is just get a lifestyle change instead of taking GLP-1. Also, now you're starting to see more people homeschool. This is probably the most amazing thing to me because I'm a homeschooler. Now, I was raised in public school. I'm talking. I raised my children in homeschool because I don't want my kids raised in public school. Listen to this. In 1970, there were only 13,000 homeschoolers. 1980, 200,000 homeschoolers. 1990, 850. This year, from 2020 to 2025, the average amount of homeschoolers per year is at least 5 million, and the number is going up because people are sick and tired of government trying to fix, quote unquote, the problems that they create. I'm sick and tired of reliant on the government to fix our problems. And now you see it with the bees, the cattle, and our children. Why are we allowing more government overreach in our life? I mean, let's just go over this. Percentage of Congress that are over 70 and have served longer than any other time being career politicians, it has surpassed every other generation. And so far this year, 2025, is the highest amount of old geriatric people that are serving in Congress, and also the longest serving people in Congress ever in any generation is this time. So that means the longest serving Congress and the oldest serving Congress has been here for at least, some of them, 30, 40, 50 years. A lot of our housing problems, educational problems, social, welfare problems, a lot of our debt problems, a lot of all the things that we just talked about, these same people voted to screw us over. Why in the world do we believe that they should have rights to do that to us? We're taxed more, we pay more, inflation's cost, and every bit of that is caused by the government. And we want them more in our lives? Doesn't make sense, does it to you? I want to go to California. This is very dystopian. And if cops showed up at your door to check on things, would you think that that's dangerous? Especially if the government is a liberal-leaning government. what's next, because we're going to talk about the story with Christians in Portland in just a second. But listen to this. This is from Wall Street Apes. It says California Democrats are hiring new San Diego enforcement officers to visit every home in San Diego every year. These new enforcement officers, called lid lifters, come to your house and will lift your trash can lids to ensure you are recycling properly. So now they're going through your trash, checking your homes, randomly deciding if you're someone who's going against their ordinance. They are paid $70,000 per year plus benefits. This is a real non-crazy thing that they said that we're going to look at already putting cameras on San Diego residents' trash lids and also using police to police the trash. It says, have you seen the lid lifters in San Diego? They are city officials and they're going through your trash. Every house in San Diego will be visited. Now, I don't know about you. That is not freedom, I don't think. And I don't think that no one voted for that, did they? What did I tell you a long time ago? The don't tread on me people are the same people that say they support enforcement. Okay, that sounds good. But the same people that's enforcing is enforcing for who's in charge of them. So if you have a conservative, like I have a great police chief and sheriff in my town. I mean, they're led because they're both conservative. They both are amazing. But for the same time, if you go to the liberal cities, they're enforced and doing the will of their mayors and their aldermen and their people that could be very, very against the move of Christianity. We're going to talk about that in just a second in Portland. But think about Dearborn. That police chief decided to just start speaking praises to Allah. And he was just a white guy who was just being a police chief. But he had to speak like that because ultimately his leadership is telling him to. So he's having to enforce different things that we probably wouldn't see in Mississippi. So now we see this in San Diego. This is in California. This is not Canada. This is not New Zealand. This is not Europe. Now we're seeing police hired going door to door to go through your trash. But you know what this article doesn't talk about? What if all of a sudden you're not doing what you're supposed to? What are they going to do? Are they going to start arresting you? Are we going to start worrying about what's in our trash? See, what else, other rights do they get? Is this just a step for them to go to your door and say, okay, well, you're doing wrong, so now I need to check in your home. I need to know that you're going to get ticketed. You're going to get citations every time that you don't obey the law with your trash. What's the next step? See, this is always a slippery slope. These kind of policies are slippery slopes because what we're doing is then we're just making for more government regulation over us. Texas, prime example. Texas is coming out, and this is a conservative Texas now. Remember what they tell you. Conservative Texas is coming out and wanting to do this new digital identity to make sure that your kids are safe online. That sounds great, doesn't it? But what did I say? Your kids would be safe if you just took the phone out of their hands and the social media presence away from them at 13 years old and TikTok away from them at 12 years old, and you started being a parent to them, and you started making sure that they were not just given to the world thinking that everything's going to be okay. It's not the government's job to overregulate you with your children. But what that does, see, here's what you don't realize. The digital ID is not for your kids. It's for you and for everyone else. It may weed out the bad players. Yes, that'd be wonderful. But if we were parenting and taking responsibility, our kids wouldn't have access to the internet by themselves talking to some strange people on a game. So here's the problem. Now they're going to say every law-abiding citizen is going to get a digital ID just to keep your children safe. Is that, did you vote for that? Do you want that? That's conservatives doing that. See, that safety and security element that we want so bad that we had in 2020, what the government realized and the establishment realized and the bureaucracy realized is, well, if we make people fear the things that are coming and we then tell them we can save them from it and keep them safe and have security, then we could just rule over them like true dictatorship. Boy, that's happening on both sides of the aisle. Come on, people, wake up and see it. Do we want police making $70 grand a year, not protecting our cities, not keeping us safe, but going through our trash and going door to door to tell us that we're doing something wrong? And then Texas telling you that you need a digital footprint because they want to keep everyone safe. Slippery slopes, guys. Slippery slopes. Now, this is my biggest part of this video because as a Christian conservative, I see what the right is doing to themselves, and they're eating their own. They're destroying us tremendously. and we're allowing it to happen. I want you to listen to what Wasson Watch Company just shared. It said, Christianity is under attack. We condemn this Islamic violence against Christians and call for justice. This is from what's happening in Portland. Ken Hibbig was there, and he says, yesterday in Berkeley, and this was in California, and then we're going to talk about Portland, it says, a man professing Christ as king had his cross ripped from his neck and appeared by someone that of Middle Eastern descent, beat him senseless. It says he was punched roughly 15 times in the face. He never threw a punch himself, and guess what? Guess who was arrested? He was wearing a Charlie Kirk shirt, by the way. He was arrested. Not the Middle Eastern man beating him to pieces. The Christian was arrested. Is this what we want? This is another story from the same situation, totally different narrative, but they were seeing the same thing. They said this person was about jihad. He was a Muslim who was openly attacking the Christian, and the Christian got his cross ripped from his face and beat, and then police arrested him. Now, did you hear what I said about the police a while ago? If they're working for conservatism and freedom and don't tread on me groups, yeah, they do a wonderful job. But if they work for the bureaucratic class or the liberals' ideology, or they are the liberals themselves, then you better watch out, because the enforcement is going to be against you. Do you think the San Diego police that's making $70,000 a year, you think he's going to go against his captain and tell him that he can't do it? No, he's going to go do his job. So, this is where it's dangerous. Christians, I'm telling you people, the movement away from Christ in this country is absolutely scary to me. The movement away from support for Israel is scary to me, but the movement away from Christ and Christianity is the worst part. This movement of populism, I mean, the left has been far gone from Christianity, and let's just take them out of the equation. But the right is moving to more of a libertarian, populist view, and those things can be good because it's the don't tread on me people, the freedom-minded people. But with that same way, we lose morals and values, and we go to this moral relativisness where it's like, well, if it's good for you, it's good for me. You do you, I do me, and we won't cross each other's paths, and we'll all live happily ever after. It doesn't work that way because we have a nation that's not assimilating to each other. I mean, like Rand Paul. Rand Paul was trying to hold up the shutdown so he could get hemp and Mary Jane farm covered. And libertarians are up in arms that Trump didn't back that. And I'm like, what has hemp and marijuana done for our nation other than make every part of our nation more dangerous? Now, I know people are like, oh, it's medical. It helps us. I believe it probably was set up that way. and I do believe it's a normal urban crop. But boy, we have abused it. And I don't know one ordinance. Go to beautiful Colorado and see how ruined Colorado is because of the way that they've legalized it. Go to any place and see how they've legalized it and how it's actually made the place better. No, it's always made it worse. See, that libertarianism and that don't tread on me, that's great. I believe in it. But if you take away the thought pattern of saying, well, Christianity is really why America is where America is at, and God is where is utilized and used America for so many things for so long with missionaries and Christians and the freedom to have the chance to be a Christ follower in America, we're starting to lose that because that freedom to practice every religion is going to end up weeding out Christianity, because we're going to allow for leaders like the Muslim faith and some of these other religions to ultimately destroy. Why do I say that? Well, the church is losing power each and every day. Republicans are. I mean, did you hear Tucker Carlson the other day? He was talking to the guy who was a sympathizer for Syria, and just a guy was just an absolute joke. But did you notice he threw out Franklin Graham's name? Did you hear? Well, Franklin Graham. I mean, he's supporting these people. What he was trying to do is downplay this well-known Christian. That's what he did with Frank Turek. That's what he's doing with Charlie Kirk. That's what all these people are doing. They're destroying the name of Christ by hurting the people that want Christ, more prevalent in our lives. And so when you see the Republicans pulling away from Christianity, and you see like this police who is seeing this guy absolutely beat to pieces with a freedom shirt on with a cross hanging around his neck and not causing any problems, didn't throw one punch, and he gets arrested, you wonder why these cities are in disrepair. Portland. Antifa is taking over parts of the city. They can't do nothing about it. And if you try to stand against that, the police will arrest you, not Antifa. Now, if you remember, Antifa was considered a terrorist group, right? So why are they able to have passes and not get in trouble with the police, but then the Christians and the conservatives are? Now, they were at a campus yesterday, a TPUSA event, and not only in Berkeley, but also when they went to Portland, and they were trying to shut it down, just destroy and annihilate the situation with Christians in support. All in the name of they don't believe in God. They don't believe in conservatism. And our police and our towns and our cities are allowing that to be okay, but not to stand up for Christ. We saw the same thing happen in Europe, and now you can't actually stand on the street corner and preach Christ, but you can stand on the corner and preach Muslim faith. The church has lost its power, and you know who I blame? I blame our Congress and Senate, but more than that, I blame convenience and comfortability in America. And now we've gotten too comfortable, and now we're seeing the fall of what we wanted to hold on to the most, which is our Christian faith. All I'm saying is this. The medicine, that's a problem. The Congress, that's a problem. Senate, they're a problem. The fact that we can't hardly grow food, that's a problem. It's a problem that we're spending way too much money. All that's problems. But really the biggest problem is when we started turning our face away from God, the Almighty God, and started to act like we didn't need Him anymore as Christ followers. That is where all the other problems come from. When we started thinking the government could raise our children instead of us, thinking that we didn't have to go to church or be in with Christianity and actually want the best for our families, and we wanted the government to take over and do it for us, we want our social media to do it for us, then what we've done is we've made our own comfort and convenience elements to then destroy our own faith. And now we're seeing America fall by the wayside. Things are not getting better. I mean, our economy is falling in shambles. I want Trump to do well. I supported him, voted for him 3 times. And I want him to do well. I want the golden age. I want the Christian age. I want all those things back. But until we're willing to turn back to Christ, it's not going to happen. We have a conservative Supreme Court. And they just basically allowed for marriage between 2 men and 2 women to keep it going. They didn't stand against that. See, don't be blinded. Don't be blinded that people are living a more Christian, wholesome life now just because we put a conservative in the White House. Actually, what you're doing is you're exposing the evil for what it is, and then actually because you're exposing it, I believe Christians don't know what to do. And I believe the church is so weak because they've lost how to fight and have passion. And now you're seeing Christians persecuted on the streets by police. Now we're seeing police go door to door. Now we're seeing the destruction of our food. Now we're seeing the destruction of our dollar. What did I tell you? All those are problems, but it's because we started taking our eyes off God. If we really want to fix America, we have to have a great awakening, and we have to have a revival. If we don't, you better be ready, because it's going to get a lot worse. Guys, give me your thoughts on today's video. Again, we love you. We thank you for supporting us by watching our content. It's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up to pay attention. God bless.